do I see everything different? Yes, for sure, because I'm always like, I'm wandering through the world as if I'm always like capturing something that might be interesting me. And if you look more into details, then you find it.
Good afternoon, Marion.
Good afternoon, Petra.
It's so lovely to meet you here on Zoom.
Thanks, it's lovely to meeting you.
You have the most incredible job, I think, of all the backstage or the behind the scenes jobs there are. I just find what you're doing so incredible.
Indeed, I have the most. I have the loveliest job ever. You're right. Thank you. Yes, absolutely.
So you are a designer, a set designer. Is that what you would say that describes what you're doing?
It's very funny that you're saying so. Yes, it's actually true. Everybody's speaking about a set designer, but actually my name rather would be production designer. In terms of that, set designer is very, very specific, because there you're just designing the plans, and I'm actually head of, in terms of, I'm designing the whole production. And
I see. Okay.
yes, so that's a little bit of difference.
So designing the production, that entails, so you have to look at the script and you have to then put the exact setting there for the story to happen. Is that right?
That's completely right. Yeah, exactly. I have to read a script. I would imagine how it looks like, and then I would be responsible for locations. Either I would work together with a location scout, or I would just do it on my own. In advance, I would do a kind of mood book, and I would present it to the director, and would have like loads of discussions about what he's imagining and what I'm imagining, and then yes, then actually I start designing. And designing is like when you have been looking for the locations, I might first doing this mood book, and then I would design like whatever I have to put into I would design studios, or I would do a design on location, as you sometimes would do. And then it starts with colors, it starts with materials, and then I would be responsible for the whole setting. I would be working together with a set decorator that would be in charge of finding out the furnitures, and with the prop master that is more responsible for the props. So, and then I would be in charge of the art director, who is like in charge of like building the sets, and he would have the constructors and the painters in his charge. So that's more or less like
a big team.
Yes, exactly.
But after we connected, and I really thought about your work, after I've read what you were doing, and it made me then suddenly aware of that type of thing that you're doing. So now, so you watch a movie, but you don't always realize, but it's this fine detail that actually helps telling the story. So that it would be something on the mantelpiece, or something on the bedside table, or something that you don't necessarily notice, but I think subconsciously it paints the picture of the whole scene.
You're completely right. I think if you start being aware of what's there and here and everywhere, it would not be a good production design. I think the best, actually, people could say, "Oh, I wasn't aware that you were designing that. I thought that that already has been existing before." And that's actually the art. The artwork would be exactly about that. It's like with the music. Sometimes you would go to a cinema and you can't remember the music, and then that's the best. That means that at the end you just get the whole work, and that's about filmmaking. It's like all these different art that is standing behind doing cinema or movies. That's all together is forming this one piece, and that's exactly what it's all about.
But are you more aware of environment. So when you go into say, I don't know, a doctor's office, are you more aware of all the little details that are there? Because your work is like that. You have to look at all the fine detail.
Actually, I'm also like a director or like an actor. You just start thinking of the book, of the script, of the actors, of the roles, different roles in this art piece, and then you just stop thinking about these personalities, and that's why probably have to be sensitive somehow to understand people, and also behind the wall, behind the person that you see there, and that's why you probably would go to some places and look even more in detail. Yes, absolutely. You have to understand everything. You have to understand persons in their individuality. You have to understand them into a period of times, because it's all the time it's different, and yeah, absolutely.
So you do a thorough character research then when you in a movie set, for example.
I'm doing it on my own, for sure, but then it's also the director has his own opinion about it. I think both of them. It's also the costume designer would do so.
Oh,
So
yeah.
everybody's doing in his role as also looking at his artwork, because it's still a difference. Everybody has this specific view. Probably the director would be even more into directing the characters. I'm more in these details of wallpaper, little subjects like what kind of cigars this person would be smoking. So, and the costume designer would be more into what kind is this person like wearing suits, or is she or her more into wearing blue or whatever. So everybody has got his specific look.
So you it's crucial that you work as a team together, because you tap from each other, or you get then these ideas from each other.
Absolutely. I'm always saying it's about I'm as good as my team is good. So also when I'm speaking of my department, and then for sure we are team players we should be working as team players when I'm just working together with the costume designer, with the director, with the DOP. So it's a team for sure.
Now, how did you get into this job? I mean, how did you get to do this? Because as a child, were you did you do artistic things, or music or art or something?
I think I was, yes, I was playing the piano, I was dancing, my mother took me to movies. Probably she was the one to be very specific into being interested in looking at movies. I grew up without television. So I went with my mother to look movies for sure. That's art. And I grew up in a very artistic family. My father came out from a family that played the music, and my grandfather was opera director or director for operas, and so probably this was always there, this part of being creative. And when I was like 15, I wanted to become a director on my own, and it took me some time because I didn't know how to go there. At that time there was no film school in Zurich, and I didn't know how to become a director. So I remember I was 18, I went to Berlin, and I was asking them, can I start as a student? And they said, no, you have to do some other studies, or do some kind of become a photographer or something like that. And I decided to study different things at university. And I was very unhappy because I wanted to be creative. And then finally I observed people, or I had good friends of mine that used to be architects. And that's why I started in architecture. And so later on, I did my studies on my own in movies. And then one to the other came that somebody was asking me, don't you want to do a movie? And I was like, oh, why not? It's a great idea. And yeah, starting it for me was very weird, because being an architect is so different, because as an architect, you just love materials and you love the real buildings. And in my first movie that I was designing, we started creating marble with not with marble, but with wallpaper. And for me, was very funny because you're just so touched to real materials. And then, yes, with the first movie that I did, there came the second one and the third one. So, yeah, I think it was by accident, but I don't believe about in by accidents. It's just
No,
like, yes, at the end I became that probably what I always wanted to do, but I didn't know about it.
yeah, this is always for me interesting to hear how people get into certain directions, because it's sometimes it just against all odds they ended up there, and that was the path that they had to go, or how they had to get there. So, but you are in a way, okay, you're not a director as you wanted to be, but in a way you do this creative work, and it's um, uh, still, sort of telling the story.
Absolutely, I think that a director would more work with the actors, and I'm
Yeah.
more working also with an actor because, but the actor would be more a location. So it's also I'm also dealing with part of the stories, but part of something that is like the fifth character or the yes, it's it's not exactly the same because as a director, sure, you have to handle with all those different departments, and you're head of all the departments, and I'm just head of this one department, art department. But the work is like similar. You're just going into the story. You have to love the not the actors but the personalities, also the characters in the setting. So I do love the characters. I have to build the the surroundings. So yes, it's kind of same thinking. Absolutely.
Yeah. But now, as in your work, so how long are you involved in the film? So you every time there's a shoot, you have to be there, and you have to see that everything is in place. So you are basically there from the start to the end of the film.
Yes. I'm probably with the director and producer. We are the first one start, or with the screenwriter for sure. But as soon as the script is out there and everybody said, yes, now we are going to do this movie, I would do these moods, and I would speak with the director. So long before the crew is coming, actually. And I'm just right now I'm working with Winter Palace's Netflix series, and we started like a year ago, and everybody else came like in October only last year. So I was like
Okay.
9 months earlier there. And we starting having a look on different places because it was not sure, are you going to shoot here or there, because it's a historical series. So it's quite complicated. And then yes, then after that, sometimes my crew would start. Also, maybe with us, it was like 4 months earlier, and before the crew came to film everything. And then starting that, we prepare the settings. It's like an everyday shooting that you have different locations coming and coming. So we would be there in advance to build them, and then they would be shooting and we would be doing the wrap. So it's always like being before and being after.
Oh, and being after.
Yes, but for sure, I always have to have a look at the locations that finally are dressed, and then the director and the DOP, they would say yes or no, and hopefully they would say yes, we like it, and but it's not something it's going to be very surprising because they know already before what we are going to do, and yes, we finished when the movie or the setting and everything would be finished. Even then, we would do the wrap of all the stuff that we have rented, like all the furnitures, and we have to build back the yes, to do the wrap basically. And then the movie would go to post production, and there usually I'm not involved anymore. Or sometimes if you have like loads of VFX, I would like talk also to them because, for example, in this series we have designing a hotel. In the post production, they would rebuild everything, so it would be very important that I still have like this overview. Everything is done in the way that we imagined it. So, but sometimes you have to fight for that to be part of it because I already would be on the next project, and
Oh, I see. Okay. So you want to have that final details correct, so that the way you wanted it.
absolutely.
But that's so wonderful. And when it's a historical piece, then you have to go and do some research because to get everything accurate?
Yes, it's very important that you have to do things accurate on the first hand, but then suddenly you would decide to do something different. But it's like because you decide that. So I always want to know what I'm doing. It's not that just because I don't know something what it was looking like that I would just read anything. But as soon as I know, it's like also a decision that I can take. Maybe I would decide to do something which is completely modern, even if it's like it should be historical. So sometimes you create something in a new dimension, which I think is very important. We are not a documentary movie maker. We usually don't do documentaries. So you have like this sometimes maybe more free spirit to make an interpretation. And I think it's very important.
And then, so what do you prefer? You work mostly on films, or do you do theater work as well?
I like series also because you can, as I like to watch series, because you really can dive deeply into characters. It's also what I like to do as a artwork because really you are much more detailed into specific places, and you have more time to also when you're seeing them, you have more time to go into all those details, and then also in different timing when you do series. Whereas 90 minutes movies, it's just a different thing. At the end, you think you think the same, but you have more opportunities going with series because you're just really diving deep into this, the métier. Yes.
And do you sometimes change things, as a series go on? Are there things that you see, okay, this is not working, I can change that? Or are you definite with this is how it is, and then it's not changing again?
It's very interesting that you asked me that because I never was thinking that before.
Okay.
I was very lucky in what I was doing. I felt it's okay. And even if there were series and different episodes, different, yes, probably it was always growing, and it was never like a changing. It was just like growing. It's like as we are growing in life, you grow with what you're doing, and you get better and better. And mostly, or for me, I can talk about myself, I think it's a little bit always the same things that I'm interested in, and I'm probably always looking a little bit in the same direction when I'm doing stuff. And but I realized that yes, the older I grow, the better I know things, and maybe I'm getting better. Yeah.
So with that experience, with every experience, you grow and you evolve.
Absolutely.
So you basically working in Europe? So you're working in Zurich mostly, or in Switzerland mostly?
Yes, mostly in Switzerland, but I do also co-production. So it's about I'm shooting also in France, in Italy, Austria, Germany, Israel. Yes.
Wow.
Europe.
So you have to be then on location always when they do that.
Yes.
Do you like that? Do you enjoy all these different countries and different projects that you work on?
I love that. It's like I'm usually I would be saying I'm like moving around like in Cigane, in terms of that. I have my home base is Zurich, but I'm moving around, and I'm always saying like just the first day when I'm staying in a hotel or anywhere, I say I have to go back home. So my home would be like just where I am, and it's like part of my life, and I like that because I even prefer to travel like that because you can talk to people in a different way because you're just part of the place that you're staying at, and you have to talk to people as if you would be living there because you're looking for furniture or for anything, and you get in contact in a different way, and I just love that.
So yeah, you're talking about now looking for furniture and looking for things. So everywhere you go, you have to be aware, and you have to look at where you can find things.
That's maybe what you were asking me before when I would be going to the doctor. Do I see everything different? Yes, for sure, because I'm always like, I'm wandering through the world as if I'm always like capturing something that might be interesting me. And And if you look more into details, then you find it.
Yeah. So
But
if
you
they
also-
say we need this glass, then hey, there, I remember, I saw that. Is that how your mind works then?
Yes, like that. Or if I don't know where I can find it, I just say, I wish I want to find it. And then you just driving along, and then probably you find a place that you have never been before. And then you're lucky to see it, exactly what you needed to find. I love that. That's really the best thing about filmmaking, because you always have to be very flexible. And in this flexibility, you find you usually are lucky. That's what I really love about it.
Yeah, and I just love your job. I just think really this is now one of the behind the scenes jobs that I think is just incredible and interesting. I just can imagine that it's interesting for you to do. But I see you also teach.
Yes.
So tell me about this, the teaching.
Teaching is like, not that I used to teach as different university, but it was not like that. I had a regular teaching like all annually, but it was more like doing courses. So I was like also as production designer teaching in architecture schools with this view being an architect and bringing into the production designer thing. And then I had like at FOCA, because in Switzerland we have like this possibility to study again, even if you are into doing professional filmmaking. You have these different courses, and there I'm teaching also about my job. Exactly.
So it must be great to then use that experience and teach it, because it's practical then, that what you've done, so you can talk from that experience point.
Yes, and it's also, and again, a reflection on what I'm doing, because then I have to like sort myself and see again in a different perspective on what I have been doing, and what was interesting me most. And so I just like that, to have this afterwards reflection. Yes.
This is interesting also, that many artists tell me that when they teach, they also see things differently, and they also learn from the people they're teaching, or from the students they're teaching. Do you find that as well?
Yes, especially young people, they're very curious and they're very direct. And it's also important for me, also when I'm working in my own team, I love to work with young people.
Oh, really?
That are not always experienced, but they have new ideas, they have different point of views, and yes, I respect them a lot.
So if somebody is interested in doing production design, is there a course, or is there something they can study to do that?
There are different schools now internationally, even now in Zurich. Even there you can
really?
Yes, it was not always like that. For my part, it's like with dancing. I always would recommend study architecture before, because it's like doing ballet and then dancing modern dance. Because it's for me, it was very, maybe it's very personal, but for me it's very nice to have been studying architecture, because you have this great view of seeing rooms and architecture and landscapes. And for me, it's very, very important. But sure, you can do these schools all over the world now. And they are really good ones, and they would be very clear in what it means doing production design, and particularly building up studios and everything. That's very interesting. So I had to learn it on my own. Like, yes.
But that you got the break, and that you got to do your first production, and that, like you said, then the next one and the next one came. So you just need that first break. But now tell me, Marion, what is the wish for you for the future?
That I still, that like all over, I would be playing like a child. It's very, very nice to have this view of like this innocent view, and to try to to make projects with loads of passion. And I think this comes from your heart, and only with your heart you can be very creative. And I hope that it's going to be in the future like that, that I can do, yes, many creations. And yes.
So the world of film and the magic of film, you want to keep creating that?
Yes, for sure. Even if there are so many stressful moments, and there's so many times that you have to speak about money and you don't have enough money, and that's the bad thing about doing movies, and you have to fight, and you fight again and again with the same things about money. And then there is this other side that where you have to keep going, dreaming big, and never giving up, and believing in what you're doing, and believing in the movie that you're doing, and believing that everything's going to be fine. And yes, and if I would give up, probably, and if I would say, yes, okay, we don't have the money, or we don't have the chance, so just do it like that, I think that's the moment of where I would give up, and that's probably better if I would be doing something else. But as long as I can be dreaming and being like a child and playing, that's good.
And are there times when the budget doesn't allow for something and you have to make do or make another plan, say for the design?
Yeah, many times there are different, that the money doesn't allow you to do exactly what you wanted to do, and then you have to find solution. And again, you have to be flexible, and it's not only about your own flexibility, it's also about the flexibility of the whole team. And it's very important that you're playing with a good team, and that everybody's like understanding each other, and not like saying, oh, I'm the most important department, and first the money for me and then for the others. And then usually you will find solution, sometimes even the better ones than, I shouldn't say that, but sometimes even the better ones than if you would have had loads of money.
Yeah, I always think that if you can create from nothing, or if it's that thing where it's not possible, but you can make it possible with something else, that's always the interesting part.
Yes.
But Marion, this was so great to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time. So interesting, your work.
Thank you, talking to you, Petra. Thanks very much.
And I wish for you together that you can keep on doing this wonderful work, and keep creating, keep making movies.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I hope that you're going to have loads of nice interviews with other artists around the world.
Thank you so much. And please let me know when you come to Vienna. It would be great to meet you in person.
I love Vienna. Yes, please.
Really?
Yes,
Oh.
and I love the people from Vienna. Yes, they got so much nice humor. And yes, I really only know nice people from Vienna. Yes.
Oh,
indeed.
okay. So when you come again, we'll meet for coffee.
For sure.
Let me know, please.
Yes, I will let you know.
Okay.
Yes.
Marion, have a lovely weekend.
You too. Thank you so much.
Speak to you soon. Okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye, Petra. Bye-bye.